YouTube? How's it going? Jarl of the Appian Way, Appius Attius Rolus here, with quite the video to show you. So it was, on that darkest day for the Dawi, that King Ungrim Ironfist, King Thorgrim Grudgebearer, and the Belgar Ironhammer had to band together to defend Karaz-a-Karak against the combined force of humans and elves. For the Dawi had settled one grudge too many, and truly upset elf kind and mankind. It was the last straw. Karaz-a-Karak must be sacked. And so it was that Wicked, as the Empire, with Karl Franz, T-42 Bug as the token Bretonnian force of cavalry, peasants, and Hippogriff Knights, and, of course, Regina Dea, with Ilariel herself, came to assault Valkyrie Hunt as Thorgrim, Bazooka Bob as Ungrim, and yours truly as Belgar Ironhammer. I can't wait to show this to you guys. This is going to be so much fun to relive. And here's a twist. GCCM mod, Karaz-a-Karak. Let me tell you, this mod pack is so cool. You've got to check this out. And oh man, look at Wicked. He actually chose to bring the very gift that the Dawi gave the Empire, steam engine tanks. He used them and a unit of Reichsguard in this assault. What an outrage. Grudges will be written in the Great Book, which was conveniently brought to this battle. We weren't going to lose our capital to silly humans and elves. What are they called? Ungi and Elgi? I'm not much one for dwarf speak. But honestly, we spent 5 minutes before this battle even started just to stare at the battlefield, and I'm going to give you that same pleasure right here. Unfortunately, the map is actually designed assuming that the greenskins have attacked, because there's this really, really cool giant greenskin battering ram that's in place here. And oh man, like I said, there's so many details here that I want to show you. It's going to be so much fun. But let me know if you like this, whole themed approach that we've done here, because we can definitely do more battles like this. Okay, so you can tell it's a bit of a doozy. It's 21 minutes long, but let me go ahead, put things on pause, and just show you the detail all the way outside. Look at this. So we have, off in the distance, there's the mountains. But here is Karaz-a-Karak's front gate. And all the way up here, it's a blimp. It's a Dawi blimp. I love it. Absolutely love it. And as I was speaking of before, look at these gate guardians here. Dwarven warriors, ancestors of the Dwarven Way, defending the bridge all the way in. And this giant battering ram built by greenskins to smash open this front door. And apparently the greenskins decided they left. They got what they wanted and left, and they opened the front door. Must have been freebooters. The Empire and Avalorn hired freebooters to break down the gate so they could get inside through the first layer of defenses. This giant drawbridge here, set up with these dwarven warriors literally holding up the ceiling. That's so cool. Giant lanterns hanging from the roofs, the ceiling. And this map does carry on for some way until you can see it. You know, there's another drawbridge in the distance. Probably the same thing. Oh, I'm getting stuck in the geometry. Okay, another one out there. And they've had to bring in their siege engines. Let me show you the Dawi defensive position. 2 battlements off to either side where we've decided to deploy several of our ranged units. And this, of course, also carries on over here as well. There's the second battlement. Actually, this player, he went ahead and he brought his cannons up here, hoping to get some good shots. And that's actually not a bad idea. I'd like to see how effective that was. My focus was more elsewhere. 2 towers already activated and shooting. Whew. And back over here, we have the Dawi defensive position. We have, the Goblobber set up back here. Look at this. There's Thorgrim himself. He'll be the first one to face whatever comes through that gatehouse. I brought Belgar Ironhammer and Throny Ironbrow. So let's go ahead and put this into slow motion, and we're going to go through the army picks. Starting at our battlements, as you might have seen, we had a unit of cannons up here, as well as a unit of thunderers, and I had 2 myself, all lined up to shoot at enemies as they approach this narrow pass. On the other battlement, we have a unit of Iron Drakes, a unit of Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes, another thunderer, and 2 quarrelers with great weapons. And then, manning our defense on the walls, I brought 4 units of Dwarf Warriors. There's a Master Engineer up here ready to take some sniping shots. We have Thunderers ready to shoot foes that come on inside. And then Miners with blasting charges all ready to throw their bombs at whoever attacks. And who is going... Oh, wait, there's more. There's more. Let's not forget. Unit of Dwarf Warrior, Longbeards ready to defend the gate with Thorgrim Grungebearer and the Longbeards with great weapons, flanked by Belgar Ironhammer and Throny Ironbrow, the elemental ancestor runesmith, who's going to be very pivotal in this battle in later stages. Ungrim, of course. Some more Dwarf Warriors, the Ekrund Miners, an organ gun ready to shoot whatever comes through the gate, a unit of Slayers, here's a unit of Longbeards out in the back ready to deploy at a moment's notice, another Dwarf Warrior with great weapons, the Goblobber, and some more Dwarf Warriors. Now, what are we having to fend off? Well, you already know about the Empire. They've brought 4 steam tanks, Karl Franz on his flying mount, and a unit of Reichsguard, which I want to find because there they are. They surprised me in the later stages of the fight. Avalorn has brought a Swordmasters of Hoeth and the Pure Main Company and another Swordmasters of Hoeth. The Empire player, or I'm sorry, the Bretonnian player has actually abandoned these 2 siege towers and let the Elf player take them over because the Bretonnian player is the one who really brought the most infantry force in the form of peasants who have manned the battering ram. So there's a peasant mob. Let's go over the rest of their forces. So here's another White Lions of Trace. Here's a Grail Relic. We have 2 flying Great Eagles, 4 peasant mobs. One of them is manning the battering ram, and then questing knights. 5 units of questing knights. One of them is the Companions of Quenelle, the Regiment of Renown. We also have a Damsel of Life wizard, and then a goon squad in the air of Royal Hippogriff Knights and a Lord on his Hippogriff. They'll be well protected by or they will help protect the 2 Great Eagles and Karl Franz. We also have a Lore Master of Hoeth, which is a wizard. But I kept mistaking this one as a sword master or something like that because I thought it was like a melee specialist. It does pretty good in melee, actually, if you look at the stats on this thing. It's got this giant sword thing. Yeah, that's a giant freaking sword for a wizard. Good lord. Anyway, he's already activating some spells. Let's get this show on the road. Oh. And sure enough, those cannons already opening fire. Or not the cannons, the handgunners already opening fire on the steam tanks. The Goblobber is putting some shots directly into this tower, but it's not going to be enough. Karl Franz is like, I've had enough of this. We're not going to get my steam tank shot up. And he's going to fly over, think about it again. Maybe try to do some scouting instead. He'll be back, though, for sure. And look at the damage that we've already done to these steam tanks. And Wicked is already thinking, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. I don't want to just lose my steam tanks to combined fire from Master Engineers, from Thunderers. Goblobber's lobbing some shots that are unfortunately landing on the wall and killing some of my own men. That's great. And as I thought, here come the Great Eagles instead to really try and ruin my day. My ally has wisely brought the Iron Drakes down. And they're just going to go ahead and try tearing these up. But I'm trying to get my Iron Drakes Trollhammer torpedoes in a position where they can do something about these Eagles. And Karl Franz has decided, you know what? No, you don't get to use your Goblobber. I'm going to just sit right here on top of it and ruin your day. And attacks and rear penalty has picked up, and already I'm starting to yell at my allies like, I need help, I need help, I don't have anything to chase us off. Guys, 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 guys. So I've activated Throny and... Did I? No, I haven't. Thought I activated Throny and Belagar, and oh, look at that. So the Swordmasters of Hoeth made it to the wall, and the organ gun immediately opens fire on them. Regina Dea was wondering what happened to her Swordmasters, and that's it. That is exactly what happened. Oh, man, we didn't even see what happened to this cannon, but it's broken. Oh, I think it was probably charged by... Yes, it was. The Royal Hippogriff Knights, and... Well, there must be one up there that they're shooting at like crazy, because those are a lot of bullets going into the ceiling. We also have the Lord over here just eating my Thunderers for lunch. Ah, yes, there he is. That's the Royal Hippogriff Knight all the way up here for some reason. So the towers have already made it to the walls. Men are already dying at the whims of miners and everything else. The Bretonnian player advised Wicked to pull his steam tanks back to where they can be healed by Avalorn, while the peasants brought up the battering rams, since all the forces on the wall are mostly tied up. Down here we have... Oh, it's hard maneuvering the camera in here, so give me a minute while I try to do this. These two Great Eagles are slowly but surely getting shot to pieces by combined fire from Quarrelers, Iron Drakes, Trollhammer torpedoes, and Thunderers, and it's too much for these Great Eagles to take. Look at that. Roasted turkeys on the menu, boys. Shoot the Waziks indeed, and that morale is crumbling quickly. And here come the torpedo rounds, and it dodged most of them because of this really amazing animation. Unfortunate volley for this unit of Trollhammer torpedoes, but the flamethrowers are not missing, and they got it taken care of. Understood. All right, so the battle on the walls continues. This unit of Swordmasters getting hammered by the Goblobber and continued fire from the organ gun. But there go the gates. They finally broken. The combined effort of the battering ram and the steam tanks more than enough, and they already see on the other side. Well, there's Storgrim Grudgebearer. Thunderers have freed up on this top flank. They actually have an angle to shoot down into the infantry that's made it up here. That's a peasant mob that's already broken. They hardly took any wounds. The White Lions of Trace and the Swordmasters already done with that fight. And the organ gun took a lot of damage from probably these Royal Hippogriff Knights. But the Goblobber is back to business. It already has 71 kills. So let's see what the Royal Hippogriff Knights are up to. Yeah, sure enough, they're diving down on the Goblobber, which is a good pick, but the Dwarf Warriors here are already ready to engage, and I hope the Dwarf Warriors have great weapons, because I'm not sure what Dwarf Warriors can do about some Royal Hippogriff Knights. You could see the combined Thunderer fire from both flanks still happening. Actually, what's happening up on this battlement? We haven't checked it out in a while. Oh, they're still dealing with the Lord, and they're wrapped up in an infantry match right there. The steam tanks had a chance to heal up with the Star of Avalorn earlier, because here comes Ilariel. She's leading up the two nobles on chariots. That's a great pick for facing Dawi. And here come the questing knights, a good anti-armor choice for them. Man, the carnage and chaos. All hope is not lost, not by a long shot. I couldn't disagree with you more, peasant mob, because this one went down to the bitter end. So here comes a stand your ground, a rally, a revenge incarnate has been activated for Belagar Ironhammer as he starts taking on Bretonnian infantry. And sure enough, that Loremaster unit over here is just got nothing left. They've been chased off the walls over here, and they're being wrapped up in all those other units. The miners are really holding out surprisingly well, and this Swordmasters of Hoeth is basically gone from combined efforts of all these units. Oh, and the Royal Hippogriff Knights are coming to... Oh, point-blank shots from the organ guns! Are you kidding me? I mentioned the miners were holding up well. I meant one unit of miners was holding up well, and that was the Ekrund miners. And these Royal Hippogriff Knights are just hoping to disrupt our units as much as possible in the backfield. We've already brought down most of our ranged units from the top, bringing them around to support, because that's where we realized the the real the real large units were coming in. But look at these shots that these Thunderers are getting, hammering down to the questing knights. Isn't this map incredible? Isn't this great? 23 kills on this Thunderer unit who I spread them thin so they can all have as many shots as possible. And that's a decision I am not regretting at all, as he just peppers these questing knights with bullet after bullet after bullet. Meanwhile, my poor Thunderers up here, totally wrapped up in this engagement with the Lord. This side of the battlements is totally routed, and unfortunately so. But here we go. Oh, losing a couple of frames here, hope you don't mind, but we bring in our defense at this gate. We make sure we don't lose it. Here's that Lore Master of Hoeth with his giant sword and spells, really trying to just defeat these Dwarf Warriors and the Ekron Miners for good before coming down and doing something else. The Royal Hippogriff Knights are coming around again, but they're also taking so much fire from these... Oh, we have a Star of Avalorn that was dropped right here, which means, yes, the White Lands of Trace and the Nobles have pulled through, and they're already trying to run everything over, but they need some healing, they need some help. This one's actually momentarily wavering and just recovering its health. Over here we have a Coralus with great weapons. He just decides, you know what, they have great weapons. He's going to throw them into melee and maybe peel off the health of this noble with 110 armor. Trollhammer torpedoes are trying to get into position. There's only 12 units left, and they have 0 kills, but they have managed to do some damage against the enemy units. But their value is actually going to be coming in later on in this engagement. The Swordmasters over here are still retreating and likely will not return. Pick your targets well indeed. The Trollhammers are actually desperately trying to get an angle to fire some torpedoes at these stuck chariots. Let's see if they get any shots off. Oh man, it's their chance. It's your moment of glory, Trollhammer torpedoes. There's some really confused elves running around back here going, where do we flee to? Oh man. And meanwhile, that great... Oh, here go the torpedo shots. Already landed one on that noble over here. There goes another one. And look at the morale break on that noble as Belegar Ironhammer and Throny Ironbrow continue to just hound and chase it, and it takes so many torpedoes. Point blank too as it passes on by, and then this Great Eagle also still getting shot as it's tied up by all these Dwarf Warriors. And look at Throny Ironbrow. He's not even intimidated by this chariot. He continues to chase it even though he gets knocked around for it. And that's the good news. And I wisely pulled my my Goblobber crew away from the artillery pieces once I saw, and there they are right there, once I saw the chariots come through. Alright, so my Dwarf Warriors continue to hold the wall just in case, as yet more... Look at this, the Pyramid Company now is up here, along with this other, with the Lore Master of Hoeth and the Lord, just trying to beat back these Ekron Miners who are still holding their ground, and the Dwarf Warriors. Here come my Dwarf Warriors to add into this fray as well. And the Reichsguard have come into this engagement. They're now routing, and they're thinking they're actually going to go off this way. They're going to regroup later on, and they're going to come in and do a rear charge that just ticks us off. Because we were like, wait a minute, where'd the Reichsguard come from? The organ gun with 1 kill, as it's been mostly targeting the Royal Hippogriff Knights. The 2 nobles are out here trying to chase off routing units, including Belegar Ironhammer and Throny Ironbrow, who are like, you are not getting away from us, noble. The Trollhammer torpedoes are now targeting the tanks because we had a tank charge come in. Oh, and my ally Ungrim had set up all of his Iron Drakes up here. They got off 1 shot before the Lord found them and said, oh, no, you don't. So if you ever wanted to see a tank face off against Thorgrim Grudgebearer and Ungrim Iron Fist, and look at that fire from the organ guns and Trollhammer torpedoes combined to target out this tank right here, and it's going to suffer for it. But man, did the Empire bring the right units to just insult, embarrass, and obliterate Dawi infantry. And there goes the first steam tank. The other 2 tanks stay out here and just hammer shots directly through the door. You'll see dwarven bodies just fall back, and again and again and again. So the next tank we have to worry about is this one over here, as it releases steam gun shots. Belagar Ironhammer coming back to the battle. He activates his ability, the Mighty Oath Stone Rally. Ballistics Calibration has been activated over here as well to benefit the organ gun. And the Trollhammer torpedoes still alive, just barely, as the tank matches up with the Goblobber crew. And let's see what we can do about this tank. Direct fire from Thunderers and Trollhammer torpedoes, and another tank bites the dust, as we are slowly but surely eliminating the resources that the combined force of Elf and Man has available to them. And remember I mentioned those Reichsguard? Well, they just about regrouped, and there's a Noble over here thinking, you know what, I need some health too. I bet you they're hoping to find Ilariel and get a nice little heal ball right here for those units. The other Noble is still around. It's beating up some Longbeards, but these Thunderers, who were very useful in taking out that second tank, have opened fire on it. The Trollhammer torpedoes have been routed. The Iron Drakes have made it off the wall. They are no, they are not shattered. They're broken. Belagar Ironhammer and Throny Ironbrow are going into this this hate ball of Bretonnian cavalry up here to support Ungrim and Thorgrim. Wait, where is Thorgrim? I thought I saw Thorgrim out here. Well, I don't know where Thorgrim is. He might have actually been eliminated. And look at that well-timed Star of Avalorn. Let's see if we can't find Thorgrim. He might have accidentally chased somebody out over here. Ilariel's just hiding on the other side of this wall, along with the Grelreleak. And the two steam tanks are they're just sitting here, and they're going to expend their ammo into these units, into this blob as much as possible. Still no... Oh, there's Thorgrim. Bringing up the rear of this, what did I call it? The hate blob. And look at this, the peasant mob, which is regrouped, has come back. And a well-timed retreat from this Noble may actually cause some damage to Dawi forces as it gets out. And those steam tanks continue to hammer fire. And look at this. The battle for the wall continues. The Royal Hippogriff Knights have returned. The Dwarven warriors are still fighting this Lord and this Pyrmane Company of White Lions of Trace. And the... oh, look at this. The Lore Master of Hoeth has come off his position. And here comes fire from the Reichsguard charge I was talking about that we saw no idea that where it was coming from. Where'd these Reichsguard come from? Gets right on top of these Thunderers, deals some damage, disrupts my Goblobber crew, and then runs right back away as the Iron Drakes with flamethrowers decide to torch them for their transgressions. Many grudges were settled this day. And Trollhammer torpedoes as well, just opening up fire point blank on this retreating Reichsguard. Just fantastic. And this unit is broken, trying to find a way out. They're still just getting hammered with superior dwarfen technology. The Lore Master of Hoeth is getting chased off by Belagar and Throny Ironbrow. And look at this. The Bretonnian cavalry has pulled back, allowing these two steam tanks a lot of free shots at these units here. And we decide to fall back. Ilariel comes charging in as Ungrim goes charging out to hold the door by himself. And the questing knights decide, you know what? We're going to do something about that. However, Ungrim is right where he wants to be. He wants to be that one dwarf to stand inside the door to Karaz-a-Karak as the companions of Quenale try to get past him. The Royal Hippogriff Knights are now diving down on Belagar, but with the support of Throny Ironbrow, here's the thing. The combined forces of Elf and Man, they're now out of... Oh, Iron Drakes! Oh, Iron Drakes. What kind of armor do Hippogriff monsters even have? 90? So they're not going to do a lot of work. Oh, look, I'm using the Goblobber at them. We're really just trying to scare them out at this point. We just don't want these guys here anymore. Oh, man, the Lore Master of Hoeth is regrouped. He's thinking about coming back to this fight. But we were desperately trying to chase those Royal Hippogriff Knights out of here. Oh, look at this. So out here in the distance, Damsel of Life has actually been getting peppered by the still manned tower of Clan Angren. Oh, man. The two tanks fell back, and they're going to go ahead and take shots in from a distance as these questing knights are finally defeated. And I'm still launching Goblobber shots at the Royal Hippogriff Knights, and Trollhammer torpedo shots, and here comes the Lord to go ahead and try and disrupt them. For the forefathers, indeed. I brought my what's left of my warriors off the walls to go ahead and defend the city itself. We've abandoned the walls. The White Lions of Trace are still up there, and they're going to go ahead and try and take back this tower to save that damsel of life in the distance. Now, Throny Ironbrow was saying earlier, an ethereal unit has, what, 90% damage reduction? Let's go ahead and take a look at that unit. Throny Ironbrow as an ethereal unit. Let's see. So he is unbreakable, immune to psychology, physical resistance 75%. So you need magical attacks to damage this guy, and with the Lore Master of Hoeth mostly done, and probably done for good now, I don't see him around, and the Alariel the Radiant busy with other things, with all of their lore magic based on life and healing. Oh! That was a very, very good try from that Ironbreaker to fire off a shot into the Lord before he dove down onto him. But I do believe the Master Engineer is here now, and they're going to open fire on him. The forces of Ungrim Ironfist are still holding the gate, but look at the punishing that that Ungrim has taken from these steam tanks. And they go ahead and they're going to retreat around the corner and wait. And by retreat around the corner, I mean assault the Pyrmane Company. As our, what's basically left of the Dawi forces is just infantry, as we go ahead and we try to find ways to deal with the two steam tanks who are now charging forward. They don't have an angle, so they're coming on in. Oh, look at that. Alariel snuck in a charge, too. She tagged Ungrim, ran away, said, "You're it." And Ungrim's like, "No, you get back here, Alariel. I'm not done with you." And he's going to eat a lot of charge damage for that, too. Ungrim is unbreakable, however, and he'll gladly die holding this door by himself. The Pyrmane Company is now routed, broken, not shattered, but done with these units of Dawi warriors. Oh, man, it's just so cool. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the battle. Here's the Lord over here. 71 hit points. Just barely hanging in there. This damsel, 518 hit points. Also just barely hanging in there. A peasant mob is back, thinking about joining in. And Alariel the Radiant's up here. The two steam tanks are still available. No more troops up here on this battlement. Definitely no more up here. All that's left to focus on is this hidden grill, really. Is what's inside the wall and what's outside the wall. And look at this. I had my one Trollhammer torpedo man left with 3 torpedoes on him. He's going to take some shots to try and eliminate Alariel. But he gets chased off by the combined fire from these tanks. But not yet. Just trying to do anything I can to get this leadership advantage. Fire some torpedoes into Alariel. They go ahead and they're going to charge in rather than, direct hit on that steam tank from a torpedo meant for Alariel. And look, and then we break, and so does this Iron Drake too, I imagine. So they charge on in, and look at what we still have defending the city. Our morale starts to shake as the tanks come forward, but we charge out to meet them. Ballistics Calibration, Rune of Oath and Steel has been activated for additional armor for all of our troops, and this is just going to become a back and forth battle for this gate. The tanks pull back, and Thorgrim is charging out there. Belagar's forces are already come back, and they're taking some punishing fire. Thorgrim says, "You know what? I don't actually want to be out here. We're going to turn around. Let's go back, guys. Let's go back." He's going to take a couple parting blows from that. How many wounds is he down to? So he's down to 1683 health, and he's already got 30 kills on him. 24 for his warriors with great weapons. Alariel out here is routing now was thinking about routing from the combined fire from this Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedo, but he is out of ammo. His contribution is done. That still leaves us with 2 very full, very capable tanks. One of them is charging on in, so you notice we've left our forces outside of the line of sight of the door. When they come on in, we charge them, chase them back out, and then we're going to fall back again to either side of the door so that their steam tanks can't just get free shots at our troops. A whole unit has been wiped out, likely of Slayers. And that tank comes charging right back in. Okay, well, we're going for it too. Alariel shows up. We contemplate charging her. And he's doing exactly what he should with this steam tank, by the way. When you're dealing with mass dwarf infantry and all you have is basically a chariot, you want to go ahead and charge in and out, in and out, in and out. We have another Rune of Oath and Steel activated. Oh, those long beards with great weapons just got punted by this steam tank. Alariel's right outside the door here with 456 hit points. I see it, and I go ahead and I'm going to send Throny Ironbrow and Belagar Ironhammer to do something about it. But then the other steam tank shows up and says, no, 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 no. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere near Alariel. Dwarf Warriors, the great weapons, trying to get in position to do something about this steam tank, and they just get absolutely embarrassed for the effort. Keep in mind, the dwarves gave the Empire these steam tanks. This one just got bogged down by a combined fire of Master Engineer. Ungrim Iron Fist just got hit one way, and these warriors got knocked the other way. Oh, not a good spot for them to be. But here comes Thorgrim, Belagar, and Throny Ironbrow to try and just bog down these two tanks. Gotta do something about them. This is the only thing that the combined forces of Elf and Man have. And look at this, Alariel's coming inside. She's dropping a spell. No, that's a rally from Belagar Ironhammer. Belagar sees his opportunity. Alariel the Radiance is right there, but she runs off yet again. The peasants are still outside, thinking about coming in. The Damsel of Life's now down to 334 hit points. The tower is not that accurate. Alariel the Radiant comes running on in again. She sees her opportunity to get into the backfield and stay there, and shows up and immediately says, oh my god, that is an ethereal ghost dwarf. I'm terrified of that. Spooky, spooky, spooky ghost. I'm running away now. You just saw the mass order from me as I'm like, oh no, Alariel, you get back here. And sure enough, the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons are going to try to catch her. Oh, that's some weird pathing as Alariel's trying to retreat as she goes back into the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. She's at 285 hit points. There's still two steam tanks in here, but these these Dwarf Warriors are getting some shots off into Alariel. We brought down this steam tank down to just 1,600 hit points. This one's at 3,000 still. And Alariel is going to likely get away, or she may recover. But this Dwarf Warrior with great weapons is going to stay in position to try and do something about it. Mark this day in the book indeed. Okay, we're going to try and watch both engagements because everything's happening in short order here. The steam tanks are starting to get some more work done. What a charge from Alariel. 260 hit points, though. The Dwarf Warriors actually have less hit points. She's going to charge back in to circle around and actually try to do what she can to rout this unit of Dwarf Warriors, which isn't a bad idea. They do have great weapons, and great weapons are one of the few options we have left against steam tanks. Ungrim Iron Fist now down to 381 hit points. The Master Engineer is doing some great work as well, but all the while, Throny Ironbrow is activating runes left and right. Every time I get the chance, there's another rune activated. Did we get one of the two? I think we did. We blew up one of the stanks remaining, and this one's now right here. Alariel is now engaged with the Master Engineer, and look at this point-blank engagement. Master Engineer sees Alariel routing. Victory is in our grasp. Does he get a painful counter shot off? Or does Alariel get away to live and speak of this tale elsewhere? Yeah, she does manage to escape. She does manage to escape. What a battle that was. Folks, do you see this carnage? Do you see what I see? Look at the Dawi that have survived. They've destroyed the last tank. There's nothing left of this force. It is Pyrrhic indeed, as Thorgrim, Ungrim, Belagar, and Throny Ironbrow live to tell the tale with the so few warriors left over. Let's talk about what's left over. What is left over indeed? Valkyrie Hunt, Thorgrim's force, down to 27 Dawi. Ungrim's force down to just 43. And Clan Engrind down to just 33. Now keep in mind, this was mostly Reiksguard, but the Empire left with only 15 men. None of them were steam tanks. Karl Franz likely escaped early. 160 Bretonnian peasants remain. and of Avalorn, 42 elves managed to escape the field of battle. What a fight! What a fight! And look, I'm telling you right now, Thorny Ironbrow, I believe was a key to our success. Him being able to stay there in the late game, them not having very many options for what to do about an ethereal unit. It's one of my favorite things to pull as Clan Angrand is go ahead and use those unique ethereal heroes, because sometimes your opponent doesn't think to bring magical attacks. Let's go down. Let's take a look at our best performers. Valkyrie Hunt here as Thorgrim Grudgebear. Those cannons managed 6 kills. They had that top position up there. They probably got a couple shots off on cavalry, but were quickly routed. His Thunderers managed to do some work in the late game, especially against steam tanks. The Longbeards helped a great deal to keep our morale in place until there was nothing left of them. The Master Engineer was a fantastic unit pick. Managed to do a lot of damage, 26 kills, Thorgrim with 30. Ungrim Iron Fist, piloted by Bazooka Bob, 41 kills himself, 81 on this Dwarf Warrior, 34 on this Dwarf Warrior, 95 on the Ekron Miners, yes, and 72 here, and 26 with the Orkin Gun. A lot of those kills were done against the Royal Hippogriff Knights. My force, strongest performers, probably the Goblobber, but those 5 kills from the Iron Drakes were against some pretty high value targets like Great Eagles or Steam Tanks. And then 29 kills on this Thunderer. These two just got tied up in that Bretonnian Lord and didn't have much to show for it afterwards. 13, 32, 49, and 7 kills as they manned the wall. 7 kills from Thorny Ironbrow, Rune of Wrath and Ruin. 5 kills on Belgar Ironhammer. Let's look at the Empire. 15 for Karl Franz, 27 on the Reichsguard, 112 and 89 for the 2 steam tanks that lasted into the late game, and look at the XP they gained. Bretonnia, 138 kills on that Lord, and 225 on the Royal Hippogriff Knights as they were just running roughshod on us. 29 kills on this peasant mob. On what? The Ekron Miners? I want to know what they killed. That's a very impressive showing for peasant mob against Dawi infantry. Dang! That's great. Wow. And then Avalorn, piloted by Regina Dea, 103 kills on this noble, 87 on that one, 122 on the War Master of Hoeth, but 193 kills with the Pyramid Company, mostly against my own Dwarf Warriors, 34, 41 kills as they were tied up trying to deal with skirmishing units on the battlements, 38 kills on this Swordmaster of Hoeth, 3 on this one, as they were the primary targets of most of our artillery fire in the early game. I'm out of breath. I'm going to go get myself a glass of water. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that fight. I know I did, and I hope to see you in the next video.